Yes, welcome to the review of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the fucking ninth movie in the series. Ninth movie? Jesus Christ. There's been a lot of ape on ape crime. So, what do I think of this movie? This movie, I took Mother Zod to see yesterday for Mother's Day, by the way. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Belated, of course. I was doing stuff with my mother, so I can put those announcements up there. But that isn't the point. What's up? Hola, Carmen. Good to see you here. Non-spoiler review for Planet of the Apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. What did I think of it? It was all right. That's my basic assessment. It's all right. This is a non-spoiler review, Carmen. Don't worry. So the basic premise of Planet of the Apes is that this is 100 years after the time of Caesar, and we have a new set of apes. Noah and his clan, they raised these eagles. Still have no context to what the fuck the eagles were for, but something happens to Noah. He has to go on a big adventure. There is a human involved. And so, first off, starting with the good things, I gotta say, I do appreciate that there's a less amount of humans in this movie. Based on what they set up, there's going to be more, but I did like the step back from the humans. They focus more on the apes. So, I am a little conflicted with no Caesar. Caesar is one of my probably one of my favorite like CGI created characters of all time. Caesar had some great lines in the last Planet of the Apes movies, but I do understand them moving away from that storyline. There is somebody who does return in this movie, but like I said, I'm not doing spoilers today. There is somebody who returns in this movie. But other than that, it was okay. I like the premise. They play around in the movie with this idea, and I gotta say, I like this idea, although I wish they developed it a little bit more. And they play around with this idea of that when Caesar died, and we all seen the Planet of the Apes movies, some of them I remember vaguely or whatever else, but the movie recaps things that happened within the other Planet of the Apes. And the premise of the movie is that there's two sides, and that there are people who fanatically believe in what Caesar says, but they twist his words around to make other apes do what they want them to do. There's another group of Caesar believers that knew him, and once again, there's no spoilers, but there is one particular character that still transitions from the original Planet of the Apes trilogy, or the original reboot at this point, because it's like the fourth fucking movie in the rebooted, whatever. But that character knows what Caesar actually wanted. So they do a very interesting thing without forcing it into the movie, where they comment on the power of what people say. And Caesar he becomes an ideal, and the notebooks and things he wrote down on and in the other Planet of the Apes become like teachings for the new generations. So they do a divide, and it kind of is commentary on how people will use what people say, and almost religion in a sense, because they use it fanatically, where some people are using what Caesar said and twisting his words around to start war with humans, where we saw the movies and we know he was trying to coexist with humans and have apes and humans exist together. And I thought that was a very intriguing way to do a spin on that, to actually make commentary without it being annoying. So I really liked the way that they show how people will use stuff to their own things, and that apes becoming intelligent now started developing characteristics of humans. And so Me and Mother Zod talked about that as we came out. We thought it was good. Now, those are my positives. My negatives, this movie is fucking slow in the beginning. And by slow, I mean like this movie did not have to be 2.5 hours fucking long. There is literally a half hour of setup. And I'm all for setting up stories and characters and all of that jazz. But there's a point where there was a nice cutoff point where they set everything up and they still fucking kept going. Like the first half of this movie, literally, I don't like to get up in the theaters because I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. I got up like 20, 30 minutes into this film, didn't miss a goddamn thing. So I think that they could have cut a half hour from this movie easily. It would have been fine. It would have done its thing. It would have been at a good pace, but this movie is fucking slow and like it is painfully slow in the beginning. I could not sit through that beginning again. I wouldn't mind it on DVD or something because I could just fast forward past it, but that's my only gripe with this, honestly. And what brings it down so big for me is the beginning's fucking boring. And it's not like it needs to set up boring. It's just they set things up, but instead of like cutting it off there and we're going on our journey, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And it's like, holy fucking shit, can we just get to the ape on ape crime? I'm fucking here to see that. Like this shit is unnecessary. And I know I've seen Rise, I've seen Dawn, and I've seen War of the Planet of the Apes, plus the old originals. I know there's like a bit of setup, but this does the thing that these movies do where it's like it feels the need to be 2 hours. And I don't understand why. Like, it was past 2 hours. I'm pretty sure it was 2.5 hours. This movie was. And you easily could have made this either a flat 2 hours or even an hour and 45 minutes. It would have been perfect. And that's my biggest complaint. And that's my complaint I have a lot with a lot of these big budgeted studio movies, and why I've been so slow on doing these is that they're all the same shit and they're all fucking long for the sake of being long. And I hate that. I only went to see this one because my mom is a huge fan of the Planet of the Apes series, and I've taken her to see all of the movies, so we went to see this one. But with that being said, this movie wasn't shitty. I'd say at about the 45-minute mark was when it actually started picking up. Now, from there, it was good. There was action. There was like a good hook. The story was very interesting. This is my other issue too. They do the thing where you could tell there's going to be a sequel. I'm sure that's not a fucking spoiler. I mean, come on. You guys should know. They're going to do sequels of those movies. They did the 3 before this. And that kind of ends Caesar's trilogy. So now this is more of Noah's trilogy. And what they set up, I like. I like that there weren't that many humans. The human we did get in here was actually very interesting. And I think they set it up in a way to where the human portion of it doesn't really come into play until later. And that's kind of the lead-in into whatever these movies are going to be about. But I thought that was very clever. And there's a very clever twist at the end. So all in all, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes wasn't bad. It was a decent movie. I did not regret seeing it. Mother Zod and me both agreed, actually, that the worst part of the movie was the beginning portion. The first 45 minutes of the movie is fucking painful to get through. But once you get through that and you actually get into what the plot is, it's a good time. But I don't consider it that high up considering all the shit I've seen. So I'm going to give this a flat 7. It's slightly above average movie, and especially the shit that comes out, but it still doesn't, for me, crack into the things like most of the 8s and 9s that I've given are things that I'm like, engage me right away, or that I don't feel the need to get up and use the restroom. And once again, I hate 2.5 hour movies. And if they're going to be long, then they got to keep my interest in the whole entire thing. And unfortunately, there's a good 45 minutes of this movie. I swear to God, you could cut out and it would be perfect. Other than that, the story was good. The characters were interesting. The premise was good. There was a monkey holding a fucking hawk. That was cool. So the poster is pretty cool. I got myself a poster. But yeah, it was another blockbuster film. So it's a big budgeted blockbuster hit. For once, a good one though, worth the money. Didn't have a problem. It falls kind of like Fall Guys and the other ones that I seen. You know, they were good. Nothing special. Didn't offend me. Wish they would make the movies fucking shorter because it's harder for me to see all of these movies when every one of them is like 2.5 to 3 hours. But oh no, it's not offensive fun. And the story does get good. I think the biggest strength in this movie is the story. The story is very fascinating, but it does do the to be continued thing. So fair warning. This is not it wraps up this story, but it doesn't answer all of the questions you are going to have. So, and this isn't a spoiler. It's just, don't want to get your hopes up. The movie does not fucking answer everything. It's actually quite annoying. There's a big thing that still is going to be unanswered, and that's probably because they're going to make fucking 3 more of these movies. So, I heard 9. God, no, I can only do maybe 1 or 2 of these. Do a nice trilogy like the original, and then stop. Jesus Christ. But for a franchise that they've been continually going on, quality is the same as the other movies. I'd say War and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes were my 2 favorite and probably the best. But this was pretty good. Less depressing than the last one. But yeah, definitely go check it out. It's an offensive, wholesome family fun, so to speak. It's got a good message, and you won't be disappointed. And Greg Kinnear's in it too. I did not expect to see Greg Kinnear, so that was a pretty cool surprise. But yeah, the rest of the movie it's interesting. You just gotta sit through 45 minutes. I think the first 45 minutes are the biggest challenge, and it's a long time period too. Like, waiting 45 minutes for the plot to kick into a movie is just way too long. And that's what I say with pacing and studios making these big 2-hour movies. Like, it feels like there's a lot of padding that didn't need to be in the movie. But other than that, thank you very much. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it, but definitely hit the like button because YouTube's algorithm is a son of a bitch. And once again, happy Mother's Day, because I missed going on live yesterday because I was taking my own mother out. But happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And definitely check Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes out. It's worth the while. It's pretty good, especially if you're a fan of these movies. I think you'll like this one. And as always, remember, the only rule here in the Fandom Zone, there's no apes allowed to kill other apes here in the Fandom Zone.